Greetings, greetings, family. We are live. Sister Shanice Black in the house. And this time round, family, we have all of our guests and absolutely delighted that you are going to be joining us, Black Gay. So I'll just give you a moment or two to come in through the doors. You can see we've got our sister Win in the house. We've also got our brother Leo Muhammad in the house. And we've got our brother Andrew Morris in the house as well. And today's show is going to be a very special one indeed, family, because, we have our beautiful Sasha Johnson, who was shot in the head just over a year ago. And we want to remember her today in a powerful, powerful way. Okay, and we also want to call for justice for our sister Sasha, and we're also going to be talking about the revolutionary works that she was actually engaged in doing just before the particular incident actually happened. So, Sister Win, how are you?
Very tired.
You've had a long day, I'm sure, but thank you so much.
Very much so. I was saying at the outset, I hope the matchstick don't jump out too quick.
I know it's late, but thank you so much for joining us for this very important meeting this evening. And family, as I said, we also have our beautiful brothers, brother Leo Muhammad and our brother Andrew Morris as well, who are going to be speaking with us. So we're going to get off to a sharp start because time actually goes so quickly. Let me put the spotlight on Sister Win for everyone, because I'm going to ask you, Sister Win, to open today's show for us. We're going to do things slightly differently, but you're going to be ushering in, some spiritual uplifting vibrations for our sister Sasha. Over to you, my
greetings, family. Greetings, Sister Shanice, and to Brother Andrew and
Brother Leo.
Brother Leo and Brother Andrew. And to the family that's watching at the moment in time and space. Thank you for the invitation to take part in this wonderful ceremony of Thanksgiving, I shall call it, because she is very much here. She's not gone anywhere yet. So it is the libation would start out as a thanksgiving for the strength that is still remaining in her body. And we proceed from there. I've not rehearsed anything, so whatever you hear, I'm also hearing it for the first time as well. So it is our custom as African people to always invite the ancestors in whatever it is that we are doing, remembering that without them we could not be here, even though at one time we too were ancestors and somebody called us back. So I'm fulfilling my role to Sasha by pouring the libation this evening. And if I say anything with which you agree, you just say Ashe or Ise. Is that okay? Thank you. So we give thanks and praise, and firstly to the creator of all creators, in whom we live, move, and have our being, and all species of life on this planet is part and parcel of the source, or the one, the essence. With prayer, pour libation to that great energy force, Ashe.
Ashe.
We acknowledge the bloodline ancestors of Sasha on the maternal side. We give thanks for them. We give thanks for the messages that they have deposited in her, Ashe.
Ashe.
We acknowledge her ancestors on the paternal side, the seed that carried all the messages. We acknowledge them. We thank them for the gift and for allowing her to come into the physical realm through them, Ashe.
Ashe.
We give acknowledgement to the planetary alignment at the time of her conception, Ashe.
Ashe.
The planetary alignment during her gestation period, Ashe.
Ashe.
The planetary alignment at the time of her coming forth of the womb, Ashe.
Ashe.
We acknowledge the spirits that still maintain their position at the place where she was born, Ashe.
Ashe.
We acknowledge the overlighting spirit from the lands of her forefathers, from Africa to the Caribbean to England, Ashe.
Ashe.
We acknowledge all the animals, the plants, the birds that share life circle with her, Ashe.
Ashe.
We give thanks to Mother Earth and Mother Nature for all their strength and for the magnificent way in which they are sustaining Sasha in this moment, this time, this space, Ashe.
Ashe.
We acknowledge all members of our soul group and those in particular who remember their agreement with her and are now standing up to that agreement, Ashe.
Ashe.
We acknowledge the doctors and all the nursing staff that are caring for the physical body, Ashe.
Ashe.
We give thanks for those members of the community who see the need to hold vigils for her. We thank them, Ashe.
Ashe.
We call at this moment in time and space on that great force, that source, that calls Sasha into being, and with whom Sasha also have an agreement. We call forward her book of life and all that was written that to be done in her, through her, and by her, Ashe.
Ashe.
In the interest of justice, we say, if this incident was not written in her book of life and somebody overstepped the mark, we call on the cosmic energies of justice to visit the person or persons who harmed our sister.
Ashe.
We call upon the healing energies to visit her on every astral and spiritual realm, Ashe.
Ashe.
If Sasha is being challenged by any being on any plateau, in any realms, or on any astral plane, and she cannot manage on her own, we ask that the Creator give permission to those ancestors who are capable to give her the support she needs to overcome her adversaries at this time, Ashe.
Ashe.
We call on the creators to pull together again in alignment all the fragment pieces of her energy shield that was shattered at that fatal time, Ashe.
Ashe.
We ask that all her systems be repaired, Ashe.
Ashe.
And the area of her brain that got damaged, we ask that that same force that created her in her mother's womb become active and go to that area and heal it on every level, Ashe.
Ashe.
And we call upon the creators to surround our family with love, with peace, with harmony, wisdom, and to give them absolute protection on every level conceivable.
Ashe.
We ask that her work not be in vain, that her name be remembered and called with love by all, Ashe.
Ashe.
And again, I end by saying justice for Sasha. If
Justice.
this was not written in her book of life, Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ashe, oh, thank you so much, Sister Wynne.
It's a pleasure.
Oh, one love, one love.
A pleasure. I can't stay too long for you because I've got to go work tomorrow. So
that's fine. Thank you.
Have a wonderful meeting,
thank you
everybody.
for that beautiful, beautiful prayer for Sasha there. So, family, we heard there from our Sister Wynne, who's put up a wonderful, wonderful prayer there for our Sister Sasha. And I just want to bring front of house now Brother Leo Muhammad, who is a community activist. He is a public speaker. He's also had a wonderful career as a comedian in our community back in the early 90s, and a formidable, leading edutainer and educationalist within our community, someone who knew Sasha very, very well. Welcome, Brother Leo. As always, a privilege and an honor to have you here on the platform. How are you?
Thank you so much, dear beloved Sister Shanice. Thank you for the wonderful invitation. I'm very honored and privileged to have an opportunity once again to have a conversation with yourself. And of course, I'm very honored to be able to talk about our beloved sister, Sasha. And so thank you. I'm very privileged to be here.
It's an honor. It always is an honor, Brother Leo. Our sister Win, wow, she said a powerful message to our ancestors there, and called on the forces, the greater forces that exist out there to intervene, and to help contribute towards Sasha's healing and her protection. You may want to add before we go on, a few words for her protection, her healing, and for any spiritual intervention that may be able to assist her right now.
Thank you very much, beloved sister. I'd like to begin by just saying a brief prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, O Allah, we beseech thy help and ask thy protection. We believe in thee and trust in thee. We worship thee in the best manner, and we thank thee. We are not ungrateful to thee, and we cast off and forsake him who disobeys thee. O Allah, thee do we serve, and to thee do we pray and make obeisance. To thee do we flee, and we are quick. We hope for thy mercy, and we fear thy chastisement. For surely the chastisement overtakes the unbeliever. O Allah, we pray that our sister Sasha, if it be your will, O Allah, that she will awaken from her sleep, from her slumber, we pray that she will regain her consciousness. We pray for her 2 sons and her mother and the family of Sasha, that they may be comforted in this time, O Allah, 1 year beyond that tragedy that took place. We pray for her awakening. We pray for her revival. We pray for her strengthening. We ask you, O Allah, to bless our sister, to come back to her family, that she may partake of a quality of life. O Allah, if it be your will, make our sister to impregnate the consciousness of our people, that we may become aware of this warrior, young warrior, that came up among us and had her life threatened in this grievous manner. We pray that you will cause our people to awaken, that they may understand that when such ones come among us, when such ones rise up from among us, that we will be protection for them, and that we will not leave them vulnerable to such assault. O Allah, I can never thank you enough for the blessing of life, and we know that you are the ultimate cause of life and the ultimate cause of death. And we pray that you will bless each and every one of us to rise in consciousness, that we may once again take our place in rulership on this planet that is absolutely out of control and out of order. We pray that you will give us the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding to once again rule with righteousness and goodness, and that those who are the perpetrators of such evil against our beloved sister will be brought to justice, not by the satanic world, but by your will, O Allah. We thank you for allowing us to be able to pay tribute to our beloved sister. We thank you for allowing us to have the wherewithal to acknowledge our sister and to pay tribute to her works that she has done in such a short time, being such a young person, but yet she represents an example of what all of our young people can be and should be. And to those of us who are up in age, she represents to us also an example for those of us who should know better, but yet do not do better. We thank you for her example. We thank you for her life. We thank you for the womb of her mother. We thank you for the extended family of Sasha. And we pray, oh Allah, that if it's your will, that she will awaken and that she will one day recognize and see how much love has been poured out for her in our desire to see her recover from this terrible injury. We ask you all of this in your holy and righteous name. And we ask this in the name of your prophets and all of those who you have sent throughout the ages to humanity for humanity's reform. Ameen.
Thank you so much, Brother Leo. And let me just share screen here, just so that we can bring in a bit of background, and then we're going to bring in our brother Andrew as well, because there may well be some who are listening who don't know about the case of our sister Sasha Johnson here in the UK, because this is an international platform and we have listeners from all around the world. Well, it was on the 26th of May, was it, last year, that Sasha Johnson was shot in the head, and it was reported that 5 people were being held on suspicion of attempted murder. And coming up here is an image of our sister Sasha, who was a revolutionary freedom fighter. As I said here, bold, confident, prominent community activist. And, you could look at her image and you could see written all over her image, the image of the Black Panther movement that we all knew of so well in the USA, an image that, sends fear, into the hearts of organizations such as the CIA, the FBI, and the institutions and organizations that are so fearful of us as a people organizing ourselves. And this is an image from the Free Huey rally that was in Oakland back in 1968. And this is what our men look like, family, when they get organized and they decide to come together. And we saw, these sorts of images happening as well here in the UK, under the works of Sasha and under the works of organizations such as the Forever Family. And our sister was out there, speaking up on behalf of us as a community, speaking on behalf of young people. She was even trying to, bring together blacks and whites, which, as far as the authorities are concerned, actually goes too far, in the direction of us organizing as a people. And here, is an image of our young people from the Forever Family, a very powerful image, again, of young people organizing. And, there was this spirit of young people just rising and coming together, and Sasha was very much part, had a powerful image as well as part of that movement. And she was also a very prominent member of the newly established then, let me put that on pause. Were you able to hear that audio coming through?
No, only your voice, dear sister.
Okay, just my voice. Okay, so we'll see if you can hear some of this as well. But before I do, go over so that we can hear the voice of Sasha. Let me ask our brother Andrew to say a few words. Bring in brother Andrew here. Let me stop share so that we can see you, brother Andrew. Welcome to Sister Shanice Show platform.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
You worked alongside Sasha and you knew her quite well. Just briefly introduce yourself, please, and tell us, what how it was you got to know Sasha, and a little bit about Sasha and her works.
Yeah, I co-founded the Taking the Initiative Party, and Sasha became a member of our executive leadership committee. But when we met, we just gelled. So for probably about 18 months prior to the shooting, I think there were 4 days in that time that we weren't together at some point. And she asked me something that I found very strange. She asked me if I could be her PA. I said to her, I'm a man in my 40s. I don't know if that's something that I could do, but for you, I will do that. So I became her assistant for a while. The image that you saw earlier on, she wears this vest. I have that vest here. This is the vest that she wore to protests, and has become quite iconic. The only thing I don't have is the badge, which I don't know what happened to that, but I've kept hold of that. So we became very close as a result of the work that she was trying to do. And TTIP, as it's shortened to Taking the Initiative Party, recognized, that she is a fearsome, she's a warrior queen. And there's a couple of things I just wanted to say. So it was actually the 23rd of May that it happened. And it's embedded in my brain, as I'm sure it's embedded in Brother Leo's.
Yeah, apologies for that. Yeah, the article was dated the 26th, wasn't it? Yeah, it's 23rd.
That's correct.
Yes. Last year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what else do I say? I don't know. I can tell you lots of things. I can tell you so many things.
Well, the vest, for example, that looks like a stab-proof vest, a bulletproof vest. Why did she feel that she needed to be wearing that vest?
Do you know what? I saw her at times when she read some of the vitriolic, nasty online hatred that was being peddled by, I suspect, the far right, because she had some interactions with people like Mr. Robinson and others, who actually she was reaching out to try and bridge a gap. Unfortunately, some of these people use these things to peddle their own narratives, and I think that one of the things that Sasha began to realize is that perhaps it wasn't the way to go. But she wore it for two reasons. I think really she was a bit concerned about her safety, but it was also quite iconic because the thing is she is a member of the Black Panther. I don't think that is a secret. She was courted by lots of people who recognized the campaigning spirit that she possesses. And one of the things that I did worry, because when I first saw her start to wear it, I just said to her, do I need to worry? Because one of the things I was trying to do with her is just keep her safe. I'm not a tough guy. I don't pretend to be. I'm not really a fighter, but I would have protected her with every fiber of my being. That is one thing that I'm very clear about. But
you mentioned, so she was getting hate messages.
Yeah,
tell us a bit about that, please, because we may not all be aware that. How often was it? What sort of messages was she getting?
After a while, she stopped watching Facebook because she was getting messages on Facebook because somebody created I think it was a Twitter account, if I remember rightly, or perhaps a Facebook account in her name, and claimed that she wanted to enslave white people. She never said any such thing. As a result of that, some of the hatred would come through Facebook. People would attack her Facebook, her Instagram, and all this kind of stuff, and send some really hateful messages. But the truth is, I remember an occasion, and he may be watching now. I remember an occasion where a very dear friend of Sasha's he wasn't missing, but she hadn't seen him for about 24 hours. And she said to me, Andy, look, let's go and find him. On our way to find him, there was a man on the floor who'd been hit by a car, and the car drove off. Sasha insisted that we stop to help. Now, that was a white man on the floor. I don't know anybody else that, if they want to enslave white people, stops to help a man who's injured on the floor, regardless of the color of his skin. She took a cardigan from the car. Her boys were in the car. She was driving the car herself, and I was in the passenger seat. And she took a cardigan, she put it under the man's head, and I wanted to get her out of there because it was quite late at night. It was about 10, 11 o'clock at night, about this time of night. And when the police came, the first thing that they asked was, were you the driver of the car? And I said, no, she wasn't. We've just arrived and we've just offered some assistance. And then we left. But that's one of just many examples. There was another example when there was a homeless man in central London. She went to the cash point, she gave him money, she bought him food, and I said, look, if I go and sit over there, will you give me some money? But this is the thing. I mean, lots of this stuff that people didn't see, and it really did frustrate me at times. And after a while, I didn't blame her for not looking at the social media. But privately, I saw her when she was a little bit upset by it, because anybody would be upset by something, because it was nasty stuff. After the incident last year, TTIP as an organisation received a number of messages that were very hateful, very racist, very sexist, and malevolent in nature. And each of those messages were individually reported to the police.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Brother Andrew, because we'd like to find out what actions were taken and what investigations happened as a result of those reports to the police. Okay, let's go over to our brother Leo. I was just showing some footage there, brother Leo, and I'll show a bit more in a little while. But before I do, I wonder if you would like to just share with us, your relationship with young Sasha as someone who was an outspoken activist, someone who had a heart for the community, both blacks and whites, because you're going to see in the video, that she, had white people standing by her side who were very much part of her team, and she got, backlash for that too. So, we'll see a bit of that. But before we go over that to the video again, let's go over to our brother Leo Mohammed.
Yes, my sister. Yes, well, Brother Andrew said that Sasha asked him to be her PA, and she asked me to be a mentor. And I was very happy to say to her, yes, I will do whatever I can to help you in terms of giving advice, because, of course, we have our ancient tradition that it's old men for war, old men for counsel, young men for war, young women for war. And she was very much a warrior as a young person, but she was humble enough and had enough humility to recognize that she also needed mentoring, she also needed guidance, she also needed somebody who would be a personal assistant. And what I noticed about our sister was, again, as it's been mentioned, she was affiliated with the Black Panthers in the UK, and I believe that there was some contact also with the new Black Panthers in America. But not only that, you see, Sasha was affiliated with the Taking the Initiative political party. Not only that, she embraced the Nation of Islam, because Brother Leo Mohammed is a member of the Nation of Islam. As has been stated, she was not averse to having colleagues and co-activists who were Caucasian people. She also embraced Black Lives Matter, and she embraced so many of the community groups and movements. I don't know, again, if it's known that Sasha was involved in a very fairly developed program of feeding the poor, you know, where they would be feeding homeless people and poor people on the streets and creating meals for people, you know, that type of thing. She had that type of spirit because, again, you showed some images of the Black Panthers from the 60s and the 70s in the United States of America. But again, when many people hear about the Black Panthers, quite often the idea or the thought is about an armed group of black people who were maybe about violence and maybe about giving back as good as they were getting from white people. But in truth, if the truth be known about the Black Panthers, the significant and most major part of their activities was, again, feeding the poor, providing facilities for the communities of black people who were impoverished and under police brutality. And they were doing a lot of humanitarian type activities within the black communities. It wasn't about violence. It wasn't about attacking anybody. It was very much about self-defense, if anything. And if you listen to Sasha, in many of the speeches that she made, she was really trying to emphasize that point, that this was very much about self-defense. It was very much about justice. It was very much about trying to achieve that type of equilibrium. Now, you know, we take a particular stance in the Nation of Islam, and I didn't necessarily agree entirely with all of the stances that our young sister took, but I recognized that she was young and that as time would go on, she would learn and appreciate that, you know, certain things that she thought maybe that she could embrace, or people that she thought she could embrace, that it was actually not workable, because we've been trying that for so many hundreds of years as a people. And so we recognize that really it's very much about becoming self-sufficient. It's very much about becoming self-determinate and doing for self. And that we would eventually, I believe that she would eventually would have recognized that and have been much more streamlined or tailored in a particular way. But she certainly had a spirit that I would say was a spirit of love for humanity and for justice. And that's what she represented. And, you know, as I said, I really, my heart went out to our sister, because I could see that she had a particular spirit about her, which, if nurtured, if allowed to grow, she would become an absolute powerhouse in our community, of benefit to our community. But make no mistake about it, the same way in which we could recognize that in Sasha, the enemy also recognized that. And I do not believe for 1 minute that what happened to her was some coincidental, accidental shooting. It really says to me, and as Brother Andrew mentioned, the death threats and all of the death. And you know, when you listen to the police and the talking heads who immediately came out after the incident on the 23rd of May in last year, everybody was very quick to say, oh, this was an accident. She was not targeted. And I asked myself, well, how do you know that? How do you know that so quickly? How can you determine that this was an accident? And it seems to me that there was a narrative that was being pushed to really throw people off the scent that this actually was targeted, and that our young sister, the philosophy of the enemy was kill them before they grow. It was to stop her before she could become. You see, and also when these things happen in such public fashion, it's also to send a message to other young people and other activists. Don't go there. Don't even try. And it's to instill fear within us as a people who are striving for justice, striving for liberation, trying to break out of this box that we've been confined to as a people that keeps us as second class citizens and keeps us, under the police watchful eye, and keeps us from being elevated into the places where we are created by the God to go. And so, Sister Sasha, by the way, her name, Sasha, I try not to use the surname because, again, it's just, we must appreciate that Johnson, Smith, Jones, Robinson, Green, Brown, all of these names come from our former slave masters and their children. Johnson, the son of John, that's all it means. It's not her name. Her name was Sasha. That's the name that was given to her by her parents. And we honor and respect that name. And that name, it's of Russian origin. And what it means is defender or helper of mankind. And it's also a unisex name. It's either male or female. And defender and helper of mankind. And that's what she was. She lived up to her name. And she is a very, very beautiful soul. And, it's heartbreaking to see what happened to her. And the prayer that I said, I really want people to understand that I mean every word. I don't know if she can or will recover, but I know that the Creator is able to heal, and he's able to mend, and he's able to revive. And so that's the prayer that we pray, that the Creator, through using the auspices of medical personnel and the vibrations. The other day we were in Ruskin Park next to the hospital, sending out vibrations via the drums and via words and energy and prayer. And we pray that, something can happen, because a friend of mine was telling me recently about a black man who had a terrible injury where he even lost portions of his brain, but somehow miraculously he was able to regain speech, consciousness, and we just don't know what God can do, and so we don't give up hope. Our sister continues to breathe, and she continues to live. And something I just heard, something kind of slipped out just a little bit the other day, which I never knew because I thought she remained in a coma. But from what I've heard, and it may be true, it may not be true, because there has been a kind of tight grip kept by her family on her condition. But I heard that it would appear that Sasha has been trying to speak or say something. So, to me, that's a fantastic sign. That's good news, beloved. And we pray that she can have some quality of life going forward.
Ashe, 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 absolutely. Anything is possible, and she certainly can regain. And she's already conscious, and he's trying to speak. That's absolutely fantastic. And I'm very aware as well of the particular individual who lost part of his brain, lost an eye, but still managed to, regain his speech and mobility and everything, and is operating very independently today. I'm going to play a little bit more from the footage, and we've been joined by Janie, I gather, who's a friend of Sasha's and is doing a documentary, and we'll bring her in as well in a short while. But let's go to share screen again, bring in a little bit of footage of our sister Sasha. So for those who are not familiar with Sasha, know who we're talking about, and let's pull our collective energy together and send the energy and the demand for healing, that call for healing and complete recovery. Let's send that message out into the universe, so that the universe itself, the great creator, the mysterious one, whatever it is that is in control of the universe, that is able to respond to our energy and our message, actually helps Sasha right now and touches her right now as she lays on that bed and contributes towards her recovery. We want to see her fully recovered. Share sound. Let me click share sound, and hopefully you'll be able to hear the voice of our Sasha. There's lots of drumming and all sorts going on there, but hopefully you can hear a little bit from our sister Sasha. Let me know if you can hear, okay? Are you hearing? Have you got sound?
We're telling you something. This is the wrong generation for every. We're not having it no more. We're not getting our news and begging no one has been socially oppressing us, conditioning our mind, teaching us self-hate. What I always say is, one solution. One solution. Revolution. One solution. Revolution. One solution. Revolution. Let me go, sis. Take it to the streets. Take it to the streets. Take it to the streets. We're not asking anyone's permission to march for our rights. We're not asking them, we're telling them. They're going to hear us now. We've had the Windrush inquiry, the McPherson inquiry, the Grenfell inquiry, the Cloven inquiry. Guess what? They know they're racist. We don't need another piece of paper to tell us because it's a lived experience. We gotta go off the streets. What I'm trying to say is we need a Black Men manifesto, but we're not gonna get there on our own. Because on our own so far, we've never been organized. And everything that's ever oppressed us has been an organization. We need to get organized. It has to be in unity. If we stand on ourselves, we're gonna stand together, sister. But we're still gonna need unity to do it. Do you think if all Black people go out there and block that street, they're not gonna run us over? We're teaching our white allies how to utilize their white privilege. How to utilize their white privilege is they can block the road for us. Shut it down. Enough is enough. We're gonna block the streets with our white allies. If you say white people are coming, you don't want to join, that's your personal choice. Me, I come to say unity. Unity. Unless you're gonna be natural enough, then I'm not gonna follow you. But I think for myself, and I judge people for myself, because we're all human. We all need blood at the end of the day. We need to bring Black history in our education system. We need to decolonize the education system. We need a Black manifesto. Just like how they set up UK, Greenpeace, we need to set up our own Black political party. We need to challenge them when it comes on to the prison system. Because the prison system has been privatized, they can't tell us they got slave masters. We still have slave masters. Slavery's never been abolished. It's just that we get in the car, we drive ourselves to the plantation now. Unless we're going to resist all sides of Western culture, there's no point talking about it. When we get this Black manifesto, we set up our own political party, then we can have action. When we set up our Black financial institution in the Caribbean community, and then they do something called partner. We need to find trusted elders that we can do our own partnerships and start to buy shops. Instead of working people's shop, we need to buy our own shops. We need to own our own Pan-African schools and African Saturday schools. We need to teach our children who they are. We need to start taking things like Jesus is not white. Everyone here came from a Black woman. If you know about the Eve gene, you know that all of us came from a Black woman. We need to take that side of history so they can tell the truth. So England can no longer disassociate from their colonial past. When they talk about us being criminals, being out here marching for our rights, Prince Andrew is a paedophile. And they need to call out Prince Andrew instead of calling out Black women and they need to call out people like Prince Andrew. We're not the criminals. We need to challenge the education system because the police is uneducated, especially when it comes to our people. They see our skin color, they see us as a threat. The reason I say the police is just like the KKK is because they were ex-police officers that are members of the BLP. The EPL, ex-officers, ex-army sergeant, ex-police
sisters, acknowledge the beat.
Let's stop sharing there just for a little while, family, and go back to the panel. Clearly, we could hear, you know, from the voice of Sasha there and all of what she had to say, just how politically aware, you know, she actually is, and, you know, how clear she was as well about the extent of the racism that exists within the police force. So unsurprisingly, you know, no proper investigation, no outcome as a result of those investigations. Clearly, you know, we ought to have our own team of investigators investigating cases like this, you know, because, you know, what confidence can we have, you know, in a police force that, you know, openly allows people from right-winged organizations to hold prominent positions within the forces, and then we expect to be able to get some justice. Let's go over to Jenny. Janae, are you there? Can see your image there. Do you want to come live and join us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you want to come? You put your video on and join us.
I can't at the moment put the video on.
Okay, go ahead. Let's hear you audibly.
Yeah. Well, you know, I met Sasha during the George Floyd protests, and I mean, it was a time where, you know, I wanted to do a film, but I always said that if I do a film, because I've been working in the industry, the mainstream industry, for over 15 years, I want to do something where I with a young activist that has passion, you know, a real passionate young activist. So somebody brought me some footage, and they was showing me someone else. I mean, a lot of us know the person, but I was like, no, it's just not quite right for what I want. It's not quite right. So I carried on watching the footage, you know, quite a bit, you know, deflated, because I thought that this footage had something. And out of a crowd walked Sasha. And she just said one line, because at the time in Trafalgar, they were all fighting. And all she said was, instead of fighting each other, why don't you get together and fight the system? And I was like, who is she? And they said, oh, I don't know, you know, some, you know, random activists like the others there, you know, she just protests. I said, find her for me, find her. So within a day, she was found. I met her, and I just found that she was really amazing. I asked if I could follow her with a camera observationally, and the rest is history. We just, you know, built a friendship from that. You know, it wasn't just a, you know, film contributor relationship. It was a friendship, you know. So even though there's a lot of footage out about Sasha, there's these intimate moments, you know, that people never see, you know. And my film, there was never meant to be a shooting. Obviously, you know, we all know there was never meant to be a shooting or anything. I mean, I was always making this film to show how amazing Sasha was. But unfortunately, you know, we're here now, and it's really, really sad. You know, I mean, Sasha was a wonderful person, and she is a wonderful person. She was a family. You know, she had her nuclear family, but to me, as soon as she got to London from Oxford, she saw a bigger family. You know, she was very passionate about what she did, and she spoke from her heart. She was uncut, you know, she was raw, she was untrained, but she was the Sasha that we love. You know, and that's what made her unique. I used to love when you're filming observationally, you usually film the crowd while you're filming her, because she's already got the audio on. You film the crowd, you know, to see what their reactions are, you know, get the nods of the head, the people, you know. And it was just, I always found it so amazing just watching the way people sort of like took notice of her, you know. And it you know, she had a gift. And I would say, you know, I always compare her to Malcolm X, because we do have loads of activists, not like Leo Muhammad. He puts his neck out, but there's not many that would put their neck out without saying, oh, my job, my oh, I can't say this, I might upset this person. If she felt it needed to be said, she would say it. And a lot of people say that she was racist. She wasn't. And she fought for my only criticism, and not necessarily, it's not a criticism, it's not a bad criticism, was Sasha spread herself very thin. She fought for every cause. And sometimes I would say that people took advantage of that, you know, because when it came to her causes, people weren't there for her causes. You know, but if something was happening here, she would be there. If it was police brutality, it would be there. If it was Yemenis, she'll be there. If it was, you know, she would always be there. She wouldn't. I mean, there was one occasion where we were going to see some Black Lives Matter protesters in Liverpool, I think it was. And she said, I'm going to pick you up at 8 o'clock. We're going to drive down there. And I said, are you sure? And she said, yeah. Anyway, 8 o'clock came, no Sasha. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Probably by 3 o'clock, Sasha said, I'm on my way. And I said, are we really going to go down there? You know, it's much too late. But Sasha said, no, I don't want to let them down. So she drove all the way up there with two of us. And by the time we got there, you know, the protest was over, and we ended up sort of like having a drink in the pub. But that's to show the type of person she was, you know, all the way to Liverpool in one day just to not let somebody down. And, you know, I mean, we'll see in my film that how the real Sasha, you know, how she grew up, where she grew up, you know, her education in Oxford Brookes. And, you know, I mean, I'm sure many people know now, she was doing a degree in youth and communities, which was cut short by, you know, the George Floyd protest. She had to go, you know, she had to go, she had to be part of it. You know, and I'm so glad and grateful that I met Sasha, and she'll always be a part of my life anyway. So, you know, and in all the years, I must say, in all the years of me making documentaries, I've never become a friend of a contributor. I've always remained professional, and I still, you know, remain professional even with this. But it's just that Sasha was, you know, a person that was easy to warm to. And that's my story.
Thank you so much, Janae, for sharing your story. Absolutely agree. She was definitely, and she is, a very gifted individual. And, you know, as Brother Leo was saying as well, a rising star. And that's why, you know, for us, the incident that happened is very questionable indeed. And you mentioned, you know, linking her to Malcolm X. I also see Angela Davis in her too. You know,
yeah, in her young days, maybe
Angela
not now.
Davis, in her as well.
And Sasha was, I mean, Sasha was quite humbled because she was really sort of like, really, she was excited that somebody wanted to film her, you know, and she was a natural. She never played for the camera. You know, she was a natural, you know, and, you know, she was quite excited. What, somebody wants to film me, really?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was, and she, I mean, she was just such a gift to everyone, you know, and she is, her activism, because she's still with us, her activism will be missed. Many, I feel, would try to step into her shoes, but it won't, you know, they just won't have that passion that she had.
Well, let's hope there is, you know, there are many out there who she has sort of deposited a bit of her into, that do actually blossom into becoming, you know, a future Sasha, because we need many of them. When there's one or two, it's too easy for them to be picked off. And they may well try and kill the visionary, but they can't kill the vision. I'm going to play a little bit more of the footage, and then I'm going to go around the table again, so to speak. Thank you, Janae. You're welcome to hang in there. And I'm just going to share screen again, and then we're going to go back round again. Thank you so much. We're going to hear a little bit in this clip from our brother Leo Mohammed as well. Okay, let's play here.
Let's turn around and face the road.
Got the audio?
Let's turn around and face our young brothers and sisters as they begin to arrive. Let's acknowledge the African beat. When we see our young brothers and sisters, let's open the way for the young brothers and sisters to come in their formation. Let's open a way for the young brothers and sisters while acknowledging the African beat, the drum beat, the heart.
On your left side, march, left, left, left. Opening, move. Left, 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 left,
Let's stop share there. As I said, you know, you can try and take out the visionary, but the vision lives on. Brother Leo, we can see you in the footage there, but let me just go over to Brother Andrew and then we'll go back to you, Brother Leo. Brother Andrew, you heard from Sister Janae there, saw a bit more footage of an event that Sasha was at, that she spoke at. Is there anything further that you'd like to add as we go around for the last time?
Yeah, a couple of things, because there's always things that arise from these things. So I mean, I was really excited that on the weekend I was with Janie and others who may or may not be watching now, I'm not sure. And we were at an event in Oxford, organised by Sasha's family. So what Brother Leo was talking about earlier on is truth, because her family has confirmed that she is talking. So I'm really, I'm really grateful for that. She's talking. She's, putting a few words together. The only thing she's not doing at the moment is walking, according to her family. So that was one thing. But there was a couple of things as well that just occurred to me that I wanted to share. And one of them is that, because we spoke a little bit about the police and the people that are allowed to get inveigle their way into these organizations. And it was really sad and disheartening, but not entirely surprising to learn very recently that a WhatsApp group existed between 2018 and 2021 that had police officers within it. And it's been found that those police officers were sharing messages about Sasha. One of them, so I'm told the least offensive one was that Black Lives Splatter was what the officer put in the group. And so it doesn't surprise me, and this again jumps off the back of what Brother Leo was sharing earlier on. Sasha's car was broken into about 4 or 5 weeks before she was shot, and I wondered what it was. I wondered if it was something to do with me, because the car was parked near my home, not hers. She often reminded me that I only lived 12 minutes away from her whenever she wanted me to come across for whatever reason. And the only thing that was taken from the vehicle was her megaphone. And I said, "Are you sure?" She said to me, "Yes, yeah, the only thing that's missing." There was lots of paperwork and folders and all kinds of things in the car. None of that was troubled. She told me, clearly, emphatically, that that the only thing that was taken was her megaphone. So it's troubling, because while I want to chalk it up to wrong place, wrong time, I can't. And I struggle with it, because she is a rising star, and you spoke about the man who has suffered and sustained a very serious gunshot wound himself. I know exactly who you're talking about, and I often find it amazing, because I get some strength from his journey and his story, because I see him in all parts of London, and I just wonder, how on earth have you got here? I won't say any more than that, except that I'm just astounded when I see him, and I just pray that Sasha will be the same, that she'll be able to have that kind of recovery and have full mobility, and be in all parts of London, and be doing all kinds of things again. The only other thing really that I wanted to share. So I remember there was an occasion. See, Janie spoke about driving up to Liverpool and all of that, and that doesn't surprise me at all, Sasha, because there was an occasion when she asked me to drive her to central London to do an interview, and I raced over to get her there. She did this interview, but what I didn't know was that one of these people, I won't even mention his name again, because I mentioned it at the top of the program, but this one of these far right people was in the vicinity, and she wanted to confront him. Unfortunately, we didn't get there on time, but she did the interview. It was quite a long interview. It was around the time of the race disparity report when that was released. And that's just the way she is, doing lots for other people, but getting precious little back, except for with the exception of people like Janie and Brother Leo, and a few other people like Mo and all these guys who have been very integral in everything that Sasha's become about in recent times, particularly since the George Floyd and beyond. But that one thing I remember seeing her, and I'll end with this. I just remember one day we went to court, because after the reparations march, Sasha was arrested, and she was on bail, and so I went to court with her to try and get that resolved. And as we finished court, I went to the station, doesn't matter where, but I went to the station. I bumped into this guy, and I knew who it was immediately, although he was wearing a mask. It was the former Speaker of the House of Commons, John Bercow. And Sasha was some way behind me with a couple of other of the collective. And I said to Sasha, I said, "Guess who I just bumped into?" And I told her, and she said, "Where?" She raced up the road, and she started talking to him, and he knew who she was. And she was really taken back by that. And there's a photograph. I've got a photograph of that day when she was speaking to John Bercow, which I thought was it was great, because I just saw the smile on her face. Because like Janie was saying then, about somebody interested in filming her, I think sometimes she felt that it was just what any person should be doing. Any person should be doing what she was doing, but actually no ordinary person does what she was doing. During the so-called tier system in not Christmas gone, the Christmas before, she organized Cash App. I think Leo mentioned it already, but she did a Cash App, and she did this food bank thing where we were delivering about 45 parcels a week to people in southwest and southeast London who had reached out to her on Facebook. And she did it all herself. I went with her to go and buy stuff. She came to kind of agreements with some people about the sale of wholesale items that we would go and get from them, and it was just amazing to watch her at work. It really was. It was really incredible. And then, you know, she'd be behind the wheel of this massive car, which I thought was far too big for her. But anyway, racing around London, delivering all these food parcels, which I just thought was awesome. You know, she gave so much. You know, I think it's time now we give something back. It was great to see the fundraiser on the weekend. I don't know how much it raised, but for me, it can never be enough, because there are two boys there with their mum missing for the time being while she convalesces. So I think, you know, it'd be good if there's, you know, I mean, prayer is great, and it's not always all about money. It's, you know, one of the things that's great is to just be at the end of a phone, which is what I do. You know, when family members need somebody, even if it's just a rant, I'm at the end of the phone, and I think we need to do a bit more of that collectively.
Absolutely. Let me just, thanks for muting there. And I wonder, you know, you said that the leader of the house actually knew Sasha. How is it that he actually knew her? Was she being discussed in certain forums or committees that he was part of? You know, her name obviously went ahead of her, and you know, she was obviously someone who's been discussed in certain circles where you wouldn't expect, you know, her to be maybe a topic of conversation. But it just goes to show the extent of the monitoring and the surveillance that happened, you know, and was happening concerning our sister Sasha. You mentioned a fundraiser as well. Let me just put that up on the screen, because someone was asking, is there a GoFundMe account for Sister Sasha? And there is. Let me just bring that up for you, family, so that you can get the details. So if you go to GoFundMe /fundraiser to support Sasha Johnson and her family, the appeal will be there and it will come up. And as you can see, there was an anonymous donation that was made just 8 hours ago. So yes, you still can contribute towards this fundraising appeal. It's still live, and obviously her children and her family are going to need as much financial support as they can get in order to be able to provide for her and help her, you know, with her recovery, so that she can gain use as much as possible of all of her limbs and be able to function as best as she can. So family, if you are able to, then please do go to the Support Sasha Johnson appeal and make a donation. So there is a GoFundMe account in her name. Let me just play a little bit more of the footage, and then we're going to go over to our brother Leo Mohammed. So let's go back to the reparations march that happened in Brixton. This was 2 years ago, I think it was now. Time goes too quickly indeed. And as I said, they may try and take out the visionary, but the vision lives on. Right, is there any audio? Okay, these are just picture images now. Brother Leo, if you want to talk to the picture images, please go ahead.
Yes, my sister, thank you so much. And big thanks to our brother Andrew for confirming what I only knew as a rumor. It's fantastic news that our sister is basically...
Sorry about that. Let's put it on pause.
You know, as a mentor to our sister Sasha, one of the only things I was able to do on one occasion, she had called me to inform me that Piers Morgan wanted her on the morning breakfast show that he did on the television. And my advice to our beloved sister was, sister, don't do it. I don't want you to do that. Because of course, you know, even though our sister, I'm sure, would have been able to hold her own in that type of arena, nonetheless, Piers Morgan and his ilk, they have an agenda, and the agenda is to really try to make our sister look bad, look crazy, look outrageous in some way or form, and to ultimately, get something on the television that would then make her a great target. And so I advised Sasha, I really don't think that you should do that. And praise God, she took the advice and she basically cancelled that particular appointment and she didn't do that interview. Because again, these people, they have a particular agenda. And what I wanted to see was Sasha grow and develop and be nurtured in such a way that she could become that person that she was destined to become, and not be crushed or, stifled before she was able to really excel in that arena of activism and advocacy. And the first law of the universe is motion. The second law of the universe is discipline. Whatever is in motion ultimately has to be disciplined. And unfortunately, our sister didn't have that protection. She didn't have that help that would allow her to be disciplined in such a way that she would not be in so many different places, which made her vulnerable. And make no mistake about it, John Burko and the rest, talking about Sasha and knowing about Sasha, they know. I mean, I don't think we appreciate, as black people in the UK in particular, just how much control the system has over our growth and development as a people, and how some people are allowed to express themselves because they are within a particular confine, they are within a particular narrative. But when you start to talk in the manner in which Sasha was speaking, talking about Prince Andrew, and talking about the realities of politics and the realities of, the social dynamics that govern our people, she was stepping on a lot of toes. And I hope we understand also that there are many in the black community who suffer from such tremendous envy and jealousy and self-hatred, that there are many in the community who ought to have known better, that would have been against what Sasha had to say and activism. And so there is a lot of collusion in the world of opposition and counterinsurgency to our movements and our desire to be free and independent and justified within, our own self-determined lives. There is a lot of opposition. And what I was hoping to be able to convey to Sasha is that reality, and how, as an activist who has been doing this now for in excess of 40 years, talking about myself, I just don't go certain places. You won't see me by myself out in the night in any type of party or anything like that. It just wouldn't happen. And security is a critical thing, and especially for our sister, for our queens, irrespective of the fact that she is a warrior, she needed to have protection. And, this attempted assassination, in my humble opinion, that took place. Again, there are those, possibly even some listening right now, who know very well who were the perpetrators. We know who are the shooters and the stabbers within our communities, and we are complicit in our silence. We are complicit, and I'm not necessarily suggesting that those so-called authorities would ever be able to give us justice, because as again mentioned by Brother Andrew, these so-called police who are in that WhatsApp group talking filth about Black Lives Matter and, our activism. Again, you see, it may not be widely appreciated or known, but much of the drugs that's sold within the black community emanates from the police. Many of the guns that we find and some of the perpetrators of crimes within the black community, they're licensed by the police. These are not, the corruption in the Metropolitan Police is rife. And it's not some lightweight thing that, we hear about on the evening news. It goes much deeper. And so, again, this sister, she shook up the place with the type of words that she pronounced. And I believe that they felt that if she was allowed to grow and develop, and if she was allowed to be nurtured and guided so that she could, become who the Creator placed her here to become, then she could become very dangerous, because she got that combination of feminine energy and power. Again, we very much underestimate the black woman. We underestimate the female energy, which is absolutely powerful when it's unleashed in the correct manner. And the youth that she had also. So she then had this combination of female energy, which really makes men who are lazy and men who are complacent and men who are cowardly and in need of testicular fortitude, it makes them guilty. And so she had that potential ability to attract those types of men, to put a bit of steel in their back. She had the potential to attract young people, male and female, and encourage them to really become active themselves. She had this potential, and the enemy, it's not an accident that they are able to spot our geniuses and our powerful individuals from age 12. This is not an accident. We are very negligent as people in spotting that reality in our young people, but the enemy is not. The enemy is always watching, which is why people like Mike Tyson spotted at the age of 12, Muhammad Ali spotted at the age of 12, all by white people, by the way. And, the point is that they know how to spot those with that type of potential and draw them out. And if they can't draw them out in order to use them for their own purposes, then they will try to destroy them. And I believe that this is what happened to our sister. But I'm very heartened to hear that there is recovery taking place, and I will be redoubling my prayers for our sister. And whatever we can do as a community to keep her spirit up and to make her to know that she's got support and love out here, then I believe that we should be doing that. And thank you so much, Sister Shanice, for making this happen, because it's very, very important that she knows that there are people out here who honor, respect, love her, and desire to see her recover.
Ashe. Thank you so much, Brother Leo. She is indeed loved. She is indeed, highly respected by us all. And she certainly was and is a rising star. And the works that she was doing, she was packing it in. Janae and Brother Andrew was just, sharing with us the extent to which she was packing that work in. It's as if, the spirit realm knew that she had a lot of work to do within a short space of time. And she made a big impact during that short space of time as well. And, I don't think we should underestimate the impact that she has already had and made on the lives of individual young people who had the pleasure of being in her company, hearing her speak, etc. And as you say, Brother Leo, we just need to get so much more organized so that we're the ones who are spotting our talent very early on and putting the protection around them, for those that actually need it. It's, can you believe it's more of a crime to speak out these days about your truths and our truths as we see it? It's more of a crime to speak out about it than it is a crime for them to commit murder against our young people. I was talking about a couple of cases in my earlier presentation to my audience today. Now, what I haven't done so far, and I must do before we end today, is I really must bring in the audience. First of all, thank you so much to everybody in the audience that is watching. We appreciate your participation via the audience. So let's go over. I've been reading some of your comments as well, and enough love is being sent Sasha's way by people in the audience as well. And let me just at random bring out some of the comments. Right. First of all, oh yes, it's highlighted that we've got 97 people, 98 people watching, but only 39 likes. Please do give us a thumbs up. It's absolutely free for you to do so. And that's all we ask. Well, no, I'm going to ask you as well to please share as well, because we want as many people as possible coming together. There's an energy, that we can actually create when we all come together and we're all calling, for the same thing. And today, we are all calling for Sasha's healing, for Sasha's continued recovery at a greater speed than which it's already happening. We want a message to reach her, to let her know that we are honoring her, that we are rising her up, that we see her for the great rising star that she is, and to let her know that she's actually shone a great light into the heart and the minds and the spirit of thousands of young people out there, and that there will be, and that there are many more Sasha Johnsons out there that are rising up. But we've got to be, and our young people, our outspoken young people, I think have got to be as shrewd as those who are targeting our young people for their own wicked gain. And we need to learn from our history. So rising up, everybody in the chat. Let's see if we've got any comments, any suggestions, any points that need to be raised. Let's see. Mel essentially is saying, love, big respect and prayers to Sasha. She is a shining light to our community, and we should all be proud of her. Heal up soon, Queen. That's from Sis Mel. Thank you, Sis Mel. Bob Garvey, what's he saying? Saying Black people are so good-hearted. That's the problem. We have to change this. Who feels it knows it. Yes, we are so good-hearted. I mean, we're just full of humanity, because that's who we are as human beings, Human beings have humanity. Those who are a kind of man, are soulless. And this is the problem and the challenge that we are facing. Rise up, Mr. Wilfred in the house. He's saying, I think because she also refused to change her narrative, to mislead her people, to please the enemy, she was targeted. Someone else who believes that she was targeted as an individual. Papa Cheese is saying, yes, my bad, arrived a bit late, coming into the live, but may Sister Tasha get well soon. Sister Sasha means get well soon as she can. And that's Bermuda there, sending prayers and blessings her way. One love, Papa Cheesy. Always great to have you in the house. The Sheriffless is saying, lost for words. Very informative, but a real sad story. Sending positive energy to Sister Sasha Glad she is talking positive signs. It is a positive sign indeed. Just goes to show, she can baffle. How many times have we heard of miracles? How many times have we heard of people, making a full recovery against the wisdom, so-called wisdom of the doctors? So, there are greater powers out there. And it may be that we need to wait until she actually comes out of their institution to gain her full recovery, because we need to learn from history in terms of what can even happen in the hospitals. And so, we're sending protection around our sister Sasha. So let's everybody concentrate our energies and efforts into ensuring that she is protected. We rise up against Sister Wynne for the wonderful opening spiritual words of pronunciations as well that she sent into the spirit realm. She called on her, Sasha's ancestors, all her ancestors as well, those who are guarding her and to protect her during this time. And also, if there was any evil or wrongdoing in this particular case, and it was anything other than an accident, that the ancestors ensure that those responsible actually pay the full price for their wicked deeds. Bob Garvey, anyone realize that the West is a shopping spree for gas and oil? This is to do with Ukraine. Okay, let's get back on topic. Yes, Mr. Wilfred is saying maybe some of our own actually got a big payoff as a result of this particular tragedy. Everything comes out in the wash eventually. Ashiman is saying just because she got shot, that does not remove the credibility of her doubters. I need more explanation on that one. Yeah, please give us a like. Thank you for that. Time will tell, yes, if those individuals responsible, time will tell. Just tell it straight, brother. Bro, the agenda of Piers Morgan is all about white supremacy. I don't call it all about white extremism to rule, to sugarcoating it, let's say. So for all your comments in the chat, deep salutes, bigging up brother Leo Mohammed for life. He's saying, brother Leo, for life. Big up the panel. Thank you so much, Deep State. Bob Garvey, the whole of Babylon is like a tenement yard. Too much watchy, innit? Too much watchy indeed. Tenka is saying, make no mistake, this is a spiritual warfare. One of the Buffalo mass shooting victims, yes, was a security guard, yes, who was recently interviewed for his work. Yes, guess what his work was? Free energy. He was an inventor. That security guard who was shot dead at the Buffalo supermarket was also an inventor. And he had got a lot of publicity about his invention. What was his invention? He actually created a device that would enable cars to run off of free energy, to run off of water. Yes, indeed. Yes, water. My brother. And what would that do to the oil industries and all of the energy industries? Talk, my brother Leo.
Yes, they were all, the Pentagon, all of them were flocking around. They became very, very interested in this brother's invention. And it just so happens that this shooter chooses this supermarket where this brother works. You see, the enemy is very, very ruthless, sister. You see, they disguise a mass shooting, but there was one target. See, the brother who would not sell out, he would not give his invention away. He wouldn't turn it over to them. And this brother, because believe me, this oil industry, they could not afford for this brother's invention of a motor vehicle that works on water, any kind of water. To succeed, to be out there in the public, because ultimately that's the end of the oil industry.
Right.
And so this brother had to go, and look at the way they did it, sister, in a mass shooting, making out that this was just some random thing, some white guy just show up and start killing black people in the supermarket. But the main target was that brother.
Rise up. Janae, would you like to comment on this as well?
Aaron Salter.
Yeah, I always I've always felt that if you mess with the pharmaceutical industry or the oil industry, that is trouble.
That's right.
That is trouble.
Yes, it's two powerful, powerful industries, multi-trillion pound industries. And
Wicked.
sorry?
Wicked industries, my sister.
Yes,
Wicked.
yes, thank you. Yes, multi-trillion dollar wicked industries whose sole intention is profit, not about the interests of the people. Imagine, you know, in today's day and age, we can all run our cars on water. Our cars can run on steam. Our cars can run on solar power. We don't need oil. We don't need gas. You know, we can all have free energy. But what would that do to the energy companies? Completely put them out of business. And they would rather take out the inventors that are coming with energy, because he's not the first inventor that has invented that has come up with a device or a machine or an invention that allows free energy, that allows cars to actually run off of water. He's not the first. There was one before, wasn't there, Brother Leo Mahoney?
One of the first ones was Tesla himself.
Uh-huh.
And he died penniless and basically a broken individual because of what the system did to him. Mm-hmm. And then they stole all of what he had, all of his notes and all of his blueprints and whatever. And slowly but surely, some of these things have come into the parlance of regular people's everyday activities in terms of electric power, electric energy. Mm-hmm. But the main free energy components have always been held back because, again, they don't want the people to be able to appreciate that you can have such a thing as free energy. And so today, you know, your electricity bills are just going up and up and up and up because these are some wicked demons, my sister. You know, this is spiritual wickedness in high places. This is the battle that we are fighting today.
Absolutely. And yes, other inventors. There was an inventor who was called to a meeting, and at the meeting was given a cranberry juice, took a sip of the cranberry juice and immediately started choking and knew that he'd been poisoned, managed to make his way outside of the meeting room just and have enough breath to say, I've been poisoned.
This is the white man.
That's the white man.
This was the white man who came up with the idea of the car driven by water, first of all, and that was back in the 30s, I believe, and they poisoned him. Yes, ma'am. Yeah,
and wasn't there one in Jamaica as well? Wasn't there an inventor in Jamaica who came up with a similar invention as well? He was able to make cars run off of water, and didn't he disappear? There was a video around once saying that, you know, they were wondering about his safety. He was meant to have gone to America for a meeting, but never arrived.
Wow.
Disappeared. So family, we need to learn from this. If you've got an invention where you can run and, you know, if you've been downloaded with the information from the ancestors, you know, how to convert cars so that they can run off of free water. My advice to you is to run it as a business out of your garage and don't tell anybody. Just do it on the download. Absolutely. Right. So we've gone way over time. Rise up, Brother Andrew. Do you want to say some closing remarks? And, you know, these are words of messages for Sasha, messages for her family, messages to the community now in terms of how we keep her name and the works alive. Few last comments from you, my brother Andrew.
I just want to thank you for this platform this evening. I want to thank you for continuing to just make sure that Sasha is in everybody's psyche and conscience. I just want, you know what, one of the things about our community is we struggle with difficult conversations, and somebody somewhere knows what has taken place. And I would just, you know, I don't have, you know, the trust and the faith in the authorities to do very much when it comes to our community. However, you know, we're in we're in the UK, and you know what? I just have to trust that somewhere there is a Clive Driscoll. And what I mean by that is Clive Driscoll was the man who ultimately retired from the Metropolitan Police after bringing to book 2 of the murderers of Stephen Lawrence. Clive Driscoll is also a man that I knew in a former life, doing youth work in Brixton. But you know, I know there's a Clive Driscoll out there somewhere who will help if we, you know, collectively, we as a community, if we have information that can bring whoever's done this to justice. I don't care. I said it at the beginning, you know, last year, black, white, or Smurf, not really bothered, as long as that person or persons unknown is brought to book. I just think that, you know, there needs to come a time really when we say enough really is enough.
Ashe. Rise up, Brother Andrew. Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing, you know, your stories of your experiences of Sasha's journey and the works that she was doing. You know, may your party, taking the initiative party as well, grow from strength to strength as well. Rise up, my brother. One love. And Janae, let me give you the opportunity to leave us with a few closing remarks, and then I'll ask Brother Leo to close as well.
Yeah, just carrying on from what Andy said, really. You know, we want people to come forward. You know, there must be some guilt. Sasha did nothing bad to anyone. She didn't deserve what she got. I've started a hashtag someone must know. You know, because that and that's going to be loud and clear throughout my film. Someone must know. And we need justice for Sasha. We need justice for Sasha. She didn't deserve it. You know, it's a soldier down but not out.
Ashe. Thank you so much. I'll post that hashtag in the chat. So I've just posted what you sent me there in the chat. Well done for that. That's not me who started the hashtag, that's Janae. Let me just put that in again. Hashtag, there we go. Someone must know. Someone must know. Someone's not sleeping well at night. Somebody has to share what happened, what they did, and what their role was in this with someone. Someone must know. Please do share with us and share with the world so that justice can be done. Brother Leo, thank you so much for joining us again on this platform. It's always a privilege and an honor to have you. I know we've got you coming up again in the near future, talking about happier topics. But for today, let me allow you to leave us with a few closing remarks.
Yes, my sister. Thank you so much, Sister Shanice, and to Sister Janae and Brother Andrew. It's been an absolute pleasure sharing a platform with all of you. And just to say that I'm highly suspicious of the collapse of this so-called trial and of these so-called suspects. And what makes me very suspicious is the fact that it was announced in the news that certain things could not be said in court about why the trial collapsed, that certain things were in camera or secret, and that rings alarm bells, because that normally only happens in cases where there is some type of police informant involved, some type of undercover operation where they can't reveal the source of or what this individual, these characters, the role that they were playing in the whole scenario. And the example I'll give you is when Malcolm X was assassinated. The newspaper said that 2 men were arrested immediately in the aftermath of that shooting of our brother Malcolm. But then the next morning in the newspapers, one of those individuals had completely disappeared from the news.
Oh, wow.
And they only had 1 now. See, but initially 2 were arrested, but 1 disappeared. And the reason why 1 disappeared is because one of them was working for the FBI and was an undercover agent who was involved in the assassination. And so don't be surprised again if the authorities themselves were not involved in this process, hence why certain things couldn't be said in open court, and ultimately this case collapsed. So all I would say to my family is, it is a war of attrition that we're involved in. It is, we are fighting against principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness in high places. We will be the victors. We are the winners already. We, having survived 400 years of the most dehumanizing treatment that any people have ever suffered in the annals of history, we are a very strong and powerful people. Sasha is representative of us as a people, and her reality is our reality. And as my sister's hashtag says, somebody must know. And we would appeal to our people, black men in particular, brothers, we got to stand up. We have to unite. We have to create a community where our women and our children are protected. We can do our own investigations once we come together in unity so that we can police our own communities and stop these wardens, these overseers, these predators from preying on our communities in the manner in which they currently do, which they call policing, because it's not policing. It's literally like it's like big game hunting as far as they're concerned. We have to bring an end to this, but we can't do this until we, as black men in particular, black people in general, come together, unite, recognize that we must have for ourselves what other people take for granted. We must have community. We must rebuild our nation. This is the only time we're actually going to be respected by the powers that be and by other people, when we have our own. God helps the child who has his own. As long as we are constantly trying to integrate ourselves into somebody else's reality while disintegrating among ourselves, we will continue to be at the bottom of the pile. We'll continue to be the beating stick. We'll continue to be a people who are fighting, always trying to just to get on par with other people. We must unite. We must come together. This is what we must do if we genuinely honor and respect what Sasha stood for, and hopefully will stand for again. Thank you, dear family, for allowing me this opportunity to share a few words with you. Thank you, Sister Shanice.
We thank you, my brother Leo, so much for being, the great community champion that you are. We celebrate you as well for the great works that you do, my brother, always being there, for our community. And we thank you, for being there for Sasha as well, and for, continuing to give her the support that she needs right now. Thank you so much for joining us today at such short notice. And you're going to be joining us again. I've just looked at the date. It's the 13th of July. So family, put that date in your diary when we have our beloved brother joining us again here on the Sister Shanice Show. To everybody in the audience that has been with us this evening, we thank you so much for your messages, your well wishes that you're sending to Sasha as well. Please continue to keep her in your thoughts as well. Let me also thank Janae for joining us as well today, and thank Brother Andrew Morris. Just want to remind you as well that this coming Wednesday, we have the usual Wednesday Sister Shanice Show, and we have special guest on Wednesday, none other than Professor Kaba. Most of you might recognize Professor Kaba from the phenomenal works that he did on the whole series of shows. Hidden Colors. That's it. Thank you so much. Yeah, Hidden Colors. I mean, he was phenomenal. That's, where he really come to light to me from the works there. And he's going to be talking about African spirituality as well. And there's, wow. He's going to be talking about some really deep kind of spiritual matters, some moving works that he's been doing, family. And so we've got our professor and our historian with us, Professor Kaba. He's also a best-selling author, expert on a whole range of historical topics. So it's definitely an honor and a privilege to have him join us all the way from the USA for Wednesday's Sister Shanice show. So please do put the word out, and it's going to be 8 p.m. start UK time. So it's the usual 8 p.m. start. We're going to continue with the Monday nights as well, the late night shows, the late night Sister Shanice shows. Brother Leo, you've kicked this off for me, you know, with the late night, because our brother Leo is so busy. He could only join us really late at night. But, you know, thank you so much, because, you know, you may have just started something here, late night sessions on the Sister Shanice show. We'll see how that goes. So Janae, thank you very much again. Brother Andrew, thank you very much. To everyone in the audience, thank you so much. All being well, we'll see you Black here on Wednesday, 8 p.m. UK time. More love, more power, more Vodum energies to our people wherever you are in the world. Let's be working towards the advancement and the upliftment of us as a people, because when we take back our rightful position as the owners and the rulers of this world, the world will be a better place. One love, family.